Well, this is my 2002 Honda Civic LX. I'm going to show you how to replace the fuel pump filter. First off, you got to take the seat out, the back seat, which you only got to take the bottom portion out, which is a 10mm bolt right here behind the seat. If you can see it, you got to undo that, and then the seat you got to pull up and it pops out. Once you pop the back seat out, you'll see this is where the fuel pump and all the assemblies at, sending unit and all that. You'll be amazed what you find underneath your seat. All I needed was, for the tools wise, just to take the seat off, was a 10mm socket with an extension. So you can get in between the seat and undo it. Now all you need is a Phillips head screwdriver. Take all of them out. Now once you get the 4 screws out, just be careful, don't go ripping the top off, because if you can see, it's got a connection you got to undo. You don't want to be yanking on that and break it. Now it's got a little clip right there that you got to push in, which I'll do it and show you in a second. Alright, once you undo it, push right there. It's just because if it's never been done before, then it's going to be a little hard to get off, but just be patient and pull it off, and you just pull it out the way. Now, do not pull this off until you unplug it, start the car, let it run all the fuel out of here, so where the pressure bleeds down. If you break this loose, it could shoot gas everywhere on you, so make sure you wear the proper equipment to do the job, so that way you don't get hurt or get anybody else hurt. So that's the only thing you need to do once you do that. Now, it only takes a second for once you have this unplugged, you start your car, it'll run the pressure out and the car will shut down to bleed the pressure off. It started up, lasted maybe 10 seconds before my car shut off. So just be very careful. Have gloves, eye protection, rags, and all that stuff to get this off. Now, be very careful with these lines. Even though it's a 2002, you know, plastic does get brittle over time, so you just gotta be very careful, do not break anything. Now once you get this off, you got to undo this. Now if you can't undo it by hand, then you have to get something to knock it around. But remember, it is plastic, it can break, so do it at your own risk. I'm just going to use a pry bar and a hammer, just because I don't have anything smaller right now, and I'm just going to lightly tap it, so that way it'll break it loose and I can do it by hand. Unless I will try it by hand once I get this off, so I can get both of them on it to try to break it loose. So let's see. I'll try to hold this at the same time, which I shouldn't, but I'm going to see if I can get this off. There we go. See, I put the rag on top of it. It's going to leak a little gas. Just make sure you have plenty of ventilation, so that way you won't make yourself sick or pass out or anything. So you do this outside. I'm half in and half out of my garage with the windows down, and with the doors wide open too. And I'm cleaning up most of the gas too. And just be careful when maneuvering this line around. Alright, let me see if I can break this loose with 2 hands. Alright, I got the ring off. All I did was I tried it with 2 hands, and it was extremely hard, so I didn't want to stress myself to do it. So I put screwdriver, flat blade, piece of wood, whatever you want, put it right on the edge right there, where, because it was sitting like this on top of there, and I hit it just like that, a little bit at a time, so that way I didn't put too much pressure on it, and then got it to the point where I could do it by hand, which took a couple rotations to get all, because this thing's never come off since the 10 years it's been on here, because this pump, the filter and sock that's on this, you can't buy from an auto parts store, which I'll explain to you later. Alright, let's pull the pump out, which, just be wary also too to clean all around here, because you don't want stuff falling into the gas tank. Make sure all this is clean, and be very careful when you pull this off. Do any work in here. This is metal right here. This will cut you wide open if you're not careful. So if you think you might hurt yourself, put tape around it, so that way you do not hurt yourself. Because when I was undoing like it, I felt it push against my hand, and that's when I realized that it's not rolled around, it's just straight edge metal right there. And I've been cut before by metal, and it's not fun. So, see, it's still leaking gas a little bit out of the hose. And let's see if we can get this out the way, which it don't look like it's going to happen. I'm going to have to come back to it when I pull it out. There we go. Let's see if I can get this thing out while y'all are on the phone. And when you pull this out, I might have to just make sure you have something to put it in, because remember, this is immersed in gas. So either a rag or a container, which is the best thing, so you can lift it straight out and put it right in the container, which I have one behind me, and we'll do that. Once I get this broken loose, I'll come back and try to pull it out. Well, after pulling it out, this is what it looks like. Definitely do it on an empty tank of gas. I made that mistake because I got a full tank of gas, well, about 3/4. And you see how it sits in the tank. It sits just like this. It sits just like that. So you got the float, the whole main body where the pump's at, and then the fuel pump filter. So you just got to be careful when you're pulling it out of the hole not to yank, pull, or any of that stuff, because you got all this stuff to work around. Because you got to pull it out, and then you got to pull up to where it comes through, then work it out, and then cock it to the sides. That way you can get the float out. Just be really, really careful. Now this is it. As I got it on something so I can take it apart. This is the fuel pump filter, because this car does not have a fuel filter on it like a normal car does. It is all built in to the pump sending unit assembly. So you have to go to the internet to get this, because my car has 140,000 miles on it, and they're known for having start getting a little bit bad gas mileage. So if you start seeing bad gas mileage at that mileage, then most likely it's due to this. But you can't go to any auto parts store that you normally go to, because it'll say non-serviceable, because they want you to take it back to the dealer or whatever. But you can do this yourself as long as you take your time and do it right. So when you get ready to disassemble the old one, you got the electrical connections that went through. You got one connection right here you got to push, and it pulls out. And then you have another one right here that's on the side right here. You push, and it comes out. So we disconnect it. Just be careful with all this stuff. Like I said, it's plastic and it's old. So you don't have to buy a whole new unit. So just, because that'll probably be highly expensive. You got another connection right here that goes to that one. It's just wired right here, and it goes all the way over to there. You got to undo, and you got, just be careful so that way it doesn't mess anything up. You got this connection right here you got to undo, because it's the hose for it, and then the one over there, which is right there, you're going to undo. And then once you undo all that stuff, then you can take this part off. You just gotta pop it off right here. If you look right here on this new one, see how it just snaps in. Just be careful. And then these are the new connections right here. See how it's not, you can't mix them up because they're already destined where they go. So that's a good thing. And then you have the sock for the fuel pump, which most likely is in here, which I'll have to take apart and I'll show you. It's that way you can get that. You just undo these clips all around. Just be really, really careful so you don't snap nothing.